The escape pods from Harmony 7 reached Earth 3 days later. Earth's Space Defense Network picked up their distress signals and guided them to the landing facility in Nevada. Medical teams rushed to help the survivors. Many were injured. All were in shock. Admiral John Calloway watched the recording for the 5th time in his office at Earth Defense Command headquarters. Each viewing made his jaw clench tighter. The image of Commander Lisa Hartman's murder played again on his screen. Her face remained calm even in her final moments. The Valtteri captain's words echoed in the room. "This is the fate of all who resist the Valtteri." The door opened, and President Samantha Wright entered. Her normally perfect appearance showed signs of strain. Dark circles underlined her eyes, and her blonde hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail instead of her usual formal style. "John," she said quietly, "has the recording been verified?" Admiral Calloway nodded. "Yes, Madam President. Multiple escape pods carried copies. It's genuine." The president sank into a chair across from his desk. 300 people on that station. How many survived? 212, Calloway replied. The Zollarans lost 83 of their people. We lost 35. And Lisa Hartman makes 36, Wright said, her voice hardening. Calloway pressed a button and the screen changed to show a map of known space. The Valtteri weren't on any of our star charts. The Zollarans hadn't encountered them either. But one of the scientists on Harmony 7 recognized their ships. Who? Dr. Alan Porter, xenopsychologist. He studied records from the Tauri Alliance about hostile encounters near the Perseus Arm. The Valtteri attacked 3 Tauri outposts last year. President Wright leaned forward. "I need to speak with him." 20 minutes later, Dr. Porter stood in the Situation Room before the President, Admiral Calloway, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Porter was a tall, thin man with nervous eyes and quick hands that moved when he spoke. "The Valtteri are conquerors," Porter explained. "Their entire society is built around the concept of domination. They believe that any species that doesn't actively demonstrate strength deserves to be enslaved. And they demonstrated this belief by murdering Commander Hartman," the president said. Porter nodded. "In their culture, that was a message. They expected fear. They expected us to hide." General Maria Lewis, head of the army, spoke up. "What do we know about their military capabilities? From the Tauri records and what our survivors saw, they have approximately 60 warships. Advanced weapons, but their tactics are straightforward. Overwhelming force, no subtlety. Their technology level is slightly above ours in weapons, slightly below in shields and navigation." Admiral Calloway pointed to a star map displayed on the wall screen. "Based on the trajectory of their ships, we believe their home system is here, about 20 light-years from Zalora Prime." The room fell silent as everyone studied the map. Finally, President Wright stood. "The United Earth Council meets in 1 hour. I need options." The United Earth Council chamber was filled beyond capacity. Representatives from every nation stood shoulder to shoulder. The normal arguments and political divisions were absent. On the main screen, the recording from Harmony 7 played once more. When it ended, President Wright took the podium. The room fell silent. "For 70 years, humanity has reached out to the stars in peace," she began. "We have built alliances, shared knowledge, and worked to be worthy members of the galactic community. When we met the Zollarans, we found friends. When we met the Tauri, we found partners. Now we have met the Valtteri, and they have shown us that not all species share our desire for peaceful coexistence." She paused, looking around the chamber. "Commander Lisa Hartman was one of our best. She represented everything humanity aspires to be: intelligent, compassionate, brave. She died trying to find a peaceful solution." Wright's voice grew stronger. "The Valtteri killed one human. Just one. They believed this would frighten us into submission. They were wrong." The chamber remained silent, but the tension was building. "I have consulted with Earth Defense Command, with the Zolaran Confederation, and with the Tauri Alliance. All agree that the Valtteri represent a direct threat to peaceful species throughout this sector of the galaxy." She looked directly into the camera that broadcast her words to every corner of Earth and its colonies. "The Valtteri thought killing one human would break us. Instead, it has united us as never before. Wright's voice became steel. I am asking this council to formally declare a state of war against the Valteri, with the goal of neutralizing their ability to threaten Earth or any peaceful species again. The vote was unanimous. 1 hour later, in a smaller room, President Wright met with Admiral Calloway and Dr. Porter. The Valteri will expect a diplomatic mission first, Porter said. It's what the Tauri did, and the Zolorans would do the same. The Valteri see this as weakness, an opportunity to demonstrate more brutality. There will be no diplomatic mission, Wright replied. Admiral, what is the status of the Vengeance project? Calloway looked surprised. The prototype is complete, but untested in actual combat. It was scheduled for war games next month. Move up the timeline. I want it ready in 3 days. Madam President, with respect, that's not enough time to... 3 days, Admiral. The Valteri attacked a research station. They don't know our true military capabilities. Dr. Porter cleared his throat. The Valteri respect only overwhelming force. If we strike, it must be decisive. Wright nodded. Operation Hartman's Thunder is approved. Full deployment of all available ships, with the Vengeance as the tip of the spear. For the next 2 days, Earth's orbital shipyards worked at maximum capacity. Ships that had been in reserve were brought online. Weapons systems were upgraded. The Zolorans provided shield enhancements for Earth's fleet. The Tauri sent star charts with detailed information on Valteri movements. In his quarters aboard the newly commissioned battleship Vengeance, Captain Eric Summers studied the tactical plans. The ship hummed with activity as the crew prepared for their mission. Lieutenant Olivia Martinez entered after knocking. Engineering reports the sunburst weapons are online, Captain. Chief Engineer Kim says they're ready for targeting tests. Summers nodded. Good. Have all crew members watched the Harmony 7 recording? Yes, sir. Every person on this ship knows why we're going. This isn't about revenge, Lieutenant, Summers said quietly. It's about justice and protecting others from suffering the same fate. Martinez's expression remained professionally neutral, but her eyes showed her thoughts. Of course, sir. But if justice happens to look a lot like revenge, I don't think anyone here will complain. As the Vengeance and its battle group prepared to depart, President Wright made one final address to the fleet. You carry with you the hopes of Earth and our allies. The Valteri believe we are weak because we seek peace. Show them that humanity's desire for peace is a choice, not a necessity. Show them that killing one of us does not break us. It unites us. Operation Hartman's Thunder is authorized. Godspeed. The Vengeance's engines glowed blue as it led 30 warships out of Earth orbit. For the first time in its history, humanity was going to war as a unified planet. And the galaxy was about to learn a terrible lesson about what happens when humans decide to fight back. Lisa Hartman stood at the viewing deck of Harmony 7 space station. The blue-green planet below reminded her of Earth, though this was Zolora Prime, homeworld of humanity's first alien allies. Lisa watched as shuttlecraft moved between the station and the planet's surface. She smiled. 5 years as commander of this joint species research station, and she still felt wonder every time she looked out this window. Commander Hartman, the Zoloran science team is ready for you, said a voice behind her. Lisa turned to see her assistant, Jack Miller, holding a tablet. His uniform was crisp as always, his posture perfect. Lisa nodded and smoothed her own uniform. Thank you, Jack. The energy crystal test today could change everything for both our species. They walked together through the curved hallway of the station. Harmony 7 was humanity's pride. A perfect circle of gleaming metal and composite materials, housing 300 humans and 200 Zolorans. The station spun slowly to create artificial gravity, and through every window the stars shone against the blackness of space. Scientists from both species nodded respectfully as Lisa passed. They had been working for 2 years on a new energy source that could power starships for decades without refueling. If successful, it would open the far reaches of the galaxy to exploration. Lisa entered the main laboratory where Dr. Kira Bennett was working alongside Chief Scientist Zalor of the Zoloran Confederation. The lab hummed with activity as humans and the tall blue-skinned Zolarans moved between workstations. "Commander, we're ready to begin the final test," Kira said, her eyes bright with excitement. "If this works, we'll have changed the future of space travel." Lisa smiled. "That's why we're here. Proceed, Doctor." Zalor bowed slightly, his long neck bending in the formal Zolaran greeting. "This partnership honors both our worlds, Commander Hartman. Your leadership has made this possible." The ceremony was interrupted by Jack rushing into the room, his face pale. "Commander, we have 3 unidentified ships approaching at high speed. They're not responding to hails." Lisa frowned. "Security Protocol Alpha, get me to the command center." Alarms began to sound throughout the station as Lisa hurried to the command center. The large view screen showed 3 dart-shaped ships approaching Harmony 7. Their design was unfamiliar, sleek predatory vessels with forward-swept wings and glowing red engines. "Any response to our messages?" Lisa asked. "None, Commander," replied Communications Officer Ben Rodriguez. "They're jamming our long-range signals too. We can't reach Earth or Zalora." Lisa studied the screen. "Put me on all channels." Ben nodded and a small light indicated she was broadcasting. "Unknown vessels. This is Commander Lisa Hartman of Earth Zolaran Research Station Harmony 7. We are a peaceful scientific outpost. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions." The screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. The creature had gray skin stretched tight over sharp facial bones, yellow eyes with vertical pupils, and a mouth full of needle-like teeth. "We are Valteri," the alien said in a harsh voice. "I am Captain Drez of the Valteri Expansion Fleet. Your species have been marked for subjugation or elimination." Lisa kept her face neutral despite the threat. "Captain Drez, there has been no previous contact between our peoples. We propose peaceful dialogue." "We have studied your kind from afar," Drez interrupted. "You expand, you consume resources, you make alliances that threaten the natural order. The Valteri will not allow this to continue." "Our research benefits all species," Lisa replied calmly. "We invite you to send representatives to discuss." The alien made a sharp barking sound that might have been laughter. "Negotiations are weakness. Submission is your only option." Lisa glanced at her security chief, Paul Garcia, who whispered, "Station defenses are active, but those ships are heavily armed. We're primarily a research facility." "Evacuate non-essential personnel to the escape pods," Lisa ordered quietly. To the screen she said, "Captain Drez, an attack on this station would be considered an act of war against both Earth and the Zolaran Confederation." "War?" Drez showed his needle teeth again. "We do not war with inferiors. We exterminate pests and enslave the useful." The first impact rocked the station before Lisa could respond. Warning lights flashed as systems began to fail. "They're targeting our shield generators," Paul reported. "Escape pods launching from sections 3 through 7. Lisa opened the station-wide channel. "All personnel, this is Commander Hartman. Proceed to emergency evacuation. This is not a drill. Save the research data if possible, but your lives are the priority." Another blast hit the station, stronger than the first. A support beam crashed down nearby, narrowly missing Ben at his console. "Commander?" Kira called from the doorway, clutching a small metal case. "We've secured the crystal prototypes and research data." "Get to an escape pod, Doctor," Lisa ordered. "Make sure that research reaches Earth." Lisa turned back to the screen, where Drez watched with apparent amusement. "Listen carefully," Lisa said, her voice hard now. "The people on this station are scientists and engineers. They pose no threat to you. Allow the escape pods safe passage, and I will surrender myself as a representative of Earth Authority." "Your surrender means nothing," Drez replied. "But we will examine these escape pods. Perhaps some of your people will serve purposes in our laboratories." Paul grabbed Lisa's arm. "Commander, you need to evacuate now. The station can't take much more." Another blast hit, and this time the lights flickered out completely before emergency power engaged. 26 escape pods away," reported Susan Weber from the damage control station. "Approximately 60 personnel still on board, mostly from security and command." Lisa nodded. "Launch the remaining pods." Security teams go with them to provide protection. And you, Commander? Paul asked. I'll take the command pod once everyone is clear, she said. Go, Paul, that's an order. The command center emptied quickly, leaving only Lisa and Jack. You should go too, Jack, Lisa said softly. With respect, Commander, no. A final, massive blast tore through the station. Through the view screen, Lisa could see one of the Valtteri ships approaching the docking bay. They were boarding. Lisa activated the emergency recorder, which would broadcast to all escape pods and nearby communication. Arrays. This is Commander Lisa Hartman of Harmony 7. We are under attack by a species calling themselves the Valtteri. They have expressed intent to subjugate or eliminate human and Zolaran people. I am attempting final negotiations. 6 Valtteri soldiers burst into the command center, weapons raised. Behind them walked Captain Drez, even more frightening in person. He stood 7 feet tall, his uniform made of what looked like scales and metal. Your station is taken, Drez said. Your people flee like insects. Lisa stood straight, hands at her sides. Many have escaped. They will warn Earth and Zalora. Good, Drez replied. Let them carry our message of your weakness. Captain, Lisa said firmly, I propose a ceasefire and diplomatic. Drez moved with shocking speed. His clawed hand grabbed Lisa by the throat and lifted her off the ground. Humans talk too much, he said, bringing his face close to hers. The strong do not negotiate with the weak. Jack lunged forward but was shot by one of the soldiers. He fell to the floor, clutching his chest. Lisa struggled for breath as Drez kept her suspended. The emergency recorder continued to transmit. No, this human, Drez said, looking directly at the recorder. This is the fate of all who resist the Valtteri. With a single brutal motion, Drez snapped Lisa's neck and dropped her body to the floor. He turned to his soldiers. Destroy what remains of this station. Let the escape pods go. They will carry our message. The humans and their allies must learn their place in the galaxy. As the Valtteri left the command center, the emergency recorder captured one final image. Lisa Hartman's body lying still on the floor of her beloved station, with Jack crawling toward her, reaching out one bloodied hand before the transmission. Cut to static. In the darkness of space, 32 escape pods carried witnesses to humanity's first encounter with the Valtteri. And with them traveled a recording that would ignite a fire across Earth unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Vengeance moved through space silently. Its black hull absorbed light rather than reflected it. Captain Eric Summers stood on the bridge, watching the stars on the main view screen. Behind his ship, 29 other Earth vessels traveled, in formation, equally dark and quiet. They had been traveling for 5 days using a new form of stealth technology that hid them from standard sensors. Status report, Summers ordered. Lieutenant Olivia Martinez checked her console. All systems, nominal, Captain. Stealth fields operating at 98% efficiency. The battle group is maintaining perfect formation. And the sunburst weapons? Chief Engineer Peter Kim looked up from his station. Charged and ready, sir. All tests show green. These weapons will work exactly as designed. Summers nodded. The sunburst weapons were Earth's newest technology, devices that would disable enemy ships without destroying them. President Wright had been clear. This mission was about justice, not extermination. We're approaching the edge of Valtteri space, Martinez reported. Their border patrol ships should be just ahead. Summers took a deep breath. This is where we find out if our stealth tech really works. The bridge crew fell silent as they watched 3 Valtteri patrol ships appear on their screens. The alien vessels were similar to the ones that had attacked Harmony 7, dart-shaped with glowing red engines. They moved in a search pattern, scanning for any signs of intrusion. Hold position, Summers ordered. Let them pass. The Earth fleet waited, perfectly still, as the Valtteri ships moved past them without slowing. No alarms sounded. No weapons were aimed at them. The stealth technology worked. Resume course, Summers said once the patrol was out of range. Next stop, the Valtteri homeworld. 12 hours later, the Earth fleet reached its destination. The Valtteri homeworld hung in space. Before them, a large planet with 2 small moons. Dozens of ships surrounded it, and orbital defense platforms ringed its equator. "They have no idea we're here," Martinez whispered, amazement in her voice. Summers nodded. "Communications, prepare the broadcast package. Tactical, target the defense. Platforms and their command ships with sunburst weapons. We fire on my mark." The crew moved with practiced efficiency. On screens throughout the bridge, targeting systems locked onto the Valtteri defenses. "Remember," Summers said to his crew, "we're not here to destroy their civilization. We're here to show them that killing one human was the worst mistake they ever made." Martinez looked up from her console. "All targets locked, Captain." Summers took a final look at the image of Lisa Hartman he had placed beside his command chair. Then he gave the order. "Fire." Streams of brilliant blue energy burst from the Earth ships. The energy beams struck the Valtteri defense platforms and ships with pinpoint accuracy. Unlike conventional weapons, the sunburst didn't explode or tear through hulls. Instead, it overloaded electrical systems and disabled engines. Within moments, the Valtteri orbital defenses hung lifeless in space. "Sunburst weapon successful," Kim reported. "All targeted systems are disabled but intact." "Phase 2, Summers ordered. "Drop stealth fields and broadcast on all channels." The Earth ships suddenly became visible to Valtteri sensors. Alarms would be sounding throughout their fleet and on their planet. Summers stood and straightened his uniform. "Open the channel." Martinez nodded. "You're on, sir." Summers looked directly at the camera. "This is Captain Eric Summers of the Earth, Warship Vengeance. Your forces attacked our research station Harmony 7 and murdered Commander Lisa Hartman. You killed one human and thought we would submit out of fear. Instead, we have come to deliver justice." Across the Valtteri homeworld, every screen and communication device displayed Summers' face. In the Valtteri High Command Center, leaders watched. In shock as their defenses went dark one by one, Summers continued. "Look around you. Your defense platforms are disabled. Your ships are powerless. We could destroy your entire civilization right now, but unlike you, we offer a choice." On the Vengeance, the crew watched as a response came through. The face of an older Valtteri appeared on screen. His gray skin was darker than Captain Drez's had been, with deep lines around his yellow eyes. "I am High Commander Vrask of the Valtteri Dominion," the alien said. "How did you penetrate our defenses? How did you disable our ships without destroying them?" "That information is not relevant," Summers replied. "What matters is that we did. What matters is that you understand the position you now find yourselves in." Vrask's expression showed a mixture of anger and something new for a Valtteri: uncertainty. "What are your demands?" he asked. "First, the immediate surrender of Captain Drez and all those who participated in the attack on Harmony 7. They will stand trial for the murder of Commander Hartman and 35 other humans." "And if we refuse?" Vrask asked. Summers' expression remained impassive. "Then we demonstrate that what you've seen is only a fraction of what we can do." To emphasize his point, Summers nodded to Martinez. She pressed a sequence on her console. A small moon off the Valtteri homeworld's shoulder suddenly glowed blue as a concentrated sunburst beam hit it. The entire surface of the uninhabited moon lit up with electrical energy that danced across its surface for nearly a minute before fading. "That moon is now electromagnetically dead," Summers explained. "Nothing electronic will function there for 100 years. We can do the same to your cities, your farms, your entire planet. You killed one human, we could kill millions of Valtteri. But unlike you, we believe in justice, not slaughter." Vrask was silent for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice had lost some of its harshness. "The Valtteri do not surrender. Then the Valtteri will fall," Summers replied simply. "You have 6 hours to deliver Captain Drez and his crew to us. After that, we will take them." The communication ended. On the bridge of the Vengeance, the crew waited in tense silence. "Do you think they'll comply, sir?" Martinez asked quietly. "Doctor, Porter's analysis suggests they won't," Summers replied. "They value strength above all else. Surrender goes against everything they believe in." "Then what's our next move?" Summers turned to his crew. "We prepare for Phase 3, General Delgado, and his ground forces will deploy if necessary. Chief Engineer Kim approached the captain. Sir, I've been analyzing the Valtteri communications we've intercepted. There's something strange about their command structure. The orders coming from high command seem inconsistent, almost like an alarm cut him off. Martinez rushed to her station. Captain, multiple ships lifting off from the Valtteri surface. They're on an intercept course. Summers nodded grimly. So they choose to fight. Prepare second wave of sunburst weapons. Target their engines only. The bridge crew rushed to their stations as the Valtteri ships approached. This was the moment of truth, whether humanity's new weapons and tactics would hold against a desperate counterattack. They're powering weapons, Martinez reported. Hold positions, Summers ordered. Let them come to us. The first Valtteri shots fired across space, missing the Earth ships by wide margins. Their targeting systems couldn't get accurate locks on the Earth vessels. Fire, Summers ordered calmly. Once again, brilliant blue energy streamed from the Earth ships, striking the Valtteri vessels with precision. One by one, the attacking ships went dark, their engines and weapons disabled. All targets neutralized, Martinez reported. No casualties on either side. Summers nodded with satisfaction. Now they understand. Send the message again. 6 hours. 5 hours passed. The disabled Valtteri ships floated silently in space. On the Vengeance, the crew waited for the Valtteri response. Captain Summers studied the reports from their scans of the Valtteri homeworld. Something wasn't adding up. Captain, called Gregory Hayes from the intelligence station. I've been analyzing the communications between their ships and the surface. There's a pattern I can't explain. Summers moved to Hayes' station. Show me. Hayes pointed to his screen where lines of intercepted communications scrolled by. See? These command codes. They're coming from the High Command Center, but they don't match traditional Valtteri communication patterns. It's almost like there are two different entities giving orders. Lieutenant Martinez joined them. Could it be a power struggle? Different military factions fighting for control? Possibly, Hayes said. But there's something else. He pulled up an image of a Valtteri from the disabled ships. Look at the eyes. Summers studied the image. The Valtteri's yellow eyes had strange black flecks floating in them, unlike the pure yellow eyes they had seen in the Harmony 7 recording. What am I looking at? Summers asked. I'm not sure, Hayes admitted. But I've checked recordings from all our previous encounters with the Valtteri. This eye pattern only appears in their leadership. Dr. Nicole Johnson, the ship's xenobiologist, approached after overhearing. May I see that? She studied the image carefully. Those aren't natural markings. They look parasitic. Parasites? Summers asked. You mean these leaders are sick? Johnson shook her head. Not sick, infected, possibly controlled. She turned to Hayes. Can you get me biological readings from the Valtteri homeworld? Specifically from their High Command Center? While Hayes worked on getting the requested data, the main view screen chimed. A communication from the Valtteri was coming through. Put it on screen, Summers ordered. High Commander Vrask appeared again. His expression was even more strained than before. Captain Summers, the Valtteri Dominion has considered your demands. And? Summers prompted when Vrask paused too long. Cannot surrender, Captain Drez. He acted according to our laws and traditions. The strong dominate the weak. This is the natural order. Summers kept his face neutral. Then you choose conflict over resolution. We will take him ourselves. Wait, Vrask said quickly. His voice dropped lower. There is unrest in our high command. Some believe we should reconsider our position. Captain Summers exchanged a look with Hayes, who nodded slightly. Something was definitely wrong within the Valtteri leadership. Your 6 hours are nearly up, Summers replied. If Captain Drez is not surrendered to us, we will deploy ground forces to retrieve him. If you send your soldiers, Vrask warned, they will never return. But his voice lacked conviction. The communication ended. Summers immediately turned to his officers. Something's happening in their leadership. Dr. Johnson, what have you found? Johnson looked up from her console where she had been reviewing the data Hayes collected. Captain, these readings are incredible. There's a secondary biological signature present in their leadership center. It's not Valtteri, it's something else entirely. Another species, Summers asked. Yes, but microscopic, parasitic. It appears to be concentrated in their central government building. Johnson's expression grew more concerned as she studied the readings. Based on these patterns, I believe we're looking at some form of neural parasite that can control its host. You're saying the Valtteri leaders are being controlled by parasites? Martinez asked, skepticism clear in her voice. Not all Valtteri, Johnson clarified, just the leadership. The regular soldiers and citizens show no signs of infection. Summers considered this information. If true, this changes everything. We need to confirm it. He pressed his communication badge. Summers to General Delgado. Delgado here, came the reply. General, we have a complication. Our science team believes the Valtteri leadership may be under the influence of a parasitic organism. We need to verify this before proceeding. There was a pause before Delgado responded. Understood. My team can infiltrate their command center and collect samples, but we'll need a distraction. You'll have it, Summers assured him. Be ready to deploy in 30 minutes. The next half hour was a flurry of activity as both ships prepared for the mission. Summers called an emergency meeting with his senior officers. If Dr. Johnson is correct, we're not just dealing with the Valtteri anymore. We're facing an unknown parasitic species that may be controlling their actions, Summers explained. This could explain why they attacked Harmony 7 without provocation. How does this change our mission? Martinez asked. Our primary objective remains the same. Bring those responsible for Commander Hartman's death to justice. But we need to understand what we're really facing. He turned to Dr. Johnson. If these parasites are controlling the Valtteri leadership, can they be removed? Johnson nodded cautiously. Theoretically, yes. If I can study one, I might be able to develop a method to safely remove them without harming the host. That becomes our secondary objective, Summers decided. General Delgado's team will collect samples and, if possible, capture a live specimen. The 6-hour deadline arrived. Captain Summers opened a channel to the Valtteri homeworld. High Commander, Vrask, your time has expired. Will you surrender Captain Drez and his crew to face justice? Vrask's face appeared, looking even more strained than before. We cannot, he said, but his voice faltered. Summers nodded. Then we have no choice but to take action. As the communication ended, Summers gave the order. Begin Phase 3. Launch the diversion. 5 small ships detached from the Earth fleet. They headed toward the Valtteri capital city, their engines glowing brightly to draw attention. Meanwhile, a stealth transport carrying General Frank Delgado and his Special Forces team departed from the opposite side, invisible to Valtteri sensors. On the Valtteri surface, alarms sounded as they detected the approaching Earth vessels. Defense, batteries aimed upward, ready to fire. All eyes were on the incoming threat, exactly as planned. General Delgado's team landed silently 2 miles from the High Command Center. 12 soldiers in advanced stealth armor moved quickly through the alien landscape. Their mission, infiltrate the command center, locate Captain Drez, and capture a live specimen of the parasitic organism. Inside the Valtteri High Command, chaos reigned. Some leaders urged immediate surrender, while others demanded all-out war. High Commander Vrask struggled to maintain order. The humans are coming, one officer reported. 5 ships approaching the capital. Shoot them down, ordered another leader, his eyes showing more black specks than yellow. Vrask hesitated. Perhaps we should consider their demands. The humans have shown they can disable our entire defense network. Weakness, shouted the other leader. Surrender is death. Outside the building, Delgado's team reached the perimeter. Their sensors detected minimal security. Most forces had been diverted. To counter the incoming Earth ships, Team 1 with me, Delgado ordered quietly. Team 2, Find the detention center. Captain Drez is likely being held there. Inside his office, Vrask stood at the window, watching the distant lights of Earth ships in the sky. Something moved. Behind him. He turned quickly to find 3 human soldiers standing there, weapons ready. "Hi, Commander Vrask," General Delgado said. "We need to talk." Back on the Vengeance, Captain Summers watched the operation unfold through the team's body cameras. So far, everything was proceeding according to plan, but the real test was just beginning. High Commander Vrask did not resist as General Delgado's team secured the room. The Valteri leader seemed almost relieved. "You found us sooner than I expected," Vrask said in a low voice. "Can you help us?" General Delgado was surprised by this response. "Help you? We came for Captain Drez and those responsible for attacking our research station." Vrask's yellow eyes darted to the door, checking if anyone might be listening. "Drez is being held in the lower levels. He tried to resist them when he realized what was happening." "Resist who?" Delgado asked, though he was beginning to understand. "The Mind Shade," Vrask whispered. "They came to us 3 cycles ago, small creatures that attached to our brains. At first, only a few leaders were taken, then more. They change our thoughts, make us aggressive beyond our natural ways." One of Delgado's team stepped forward with a scanner. "Sir, I'm detecting the parasitic organism in his brainstem, but the neural patterns are strange. It appears to be weakened somehow." Vrask nodded. "I have fought its control. Some of us have tried to resist, but it is difficult. The Mind Shade want to use us to conquer this sector of space. Your research station was targeted because you were developing technology that could detect them." Delgado touched his comm unit. "Delgado to Vengeance. Are you getting this?" On the bridge of the Vengeance, Captain Summers and Dr. Johnson listened intently. Johnson was already analyzing the scanner data. "This confirms my theory," she said. "These parasites, these Mind Shade, are controlling the Valteri leadership, but why would they target Harmony 7 specifically?" Gregory Hayes checked through the research data from the station. "The Energy Crystal Project," he realized. "The crystals give off a specific frequency during activation. Our records show that frequency disrupts certain neural patterns. Like those created by a neural parasite," Johnson concluded. "They attacked Harmony 7 because our research threatened their control." Summers opened a channel to Delgado. "General, we need a live specimen of these Mind Shade for Dr. Johnson to study. And we still need to locate Captain Drez." "Understood," Delgado replied. He turned to Vrask. "Will you help us?" The Valteri commander stood straighter. "If you can free us from the Mind Shade, I will help you. Follow me." Vrask led them through hidden passages in the command center. They moved quickly, avoiding patrols of Valteri soldiers whose eyes showed the heavy black specks of Mind Shade control. "Most of the military leadership is fully controlled," Vrask explained as they descended. "The Mind Shade need time to establish complete control. I was able to resist because of my age and certain mental disciplines." They reached a secure door. Vrask placed his hand on a scanner, and the door slid open to reveal a detention area. In one cell sat a Valteri officer, his uniform torn and dirty. "Captain Drez," Vrask said. "The humans have come." Drez looked up, his yellow eyes clear of black specks. "Have you come to kill me, humans? I would prefer that to being controlled again." General Delgado studied the Valteri captain. "You're the one who murdered Commander Hartman." "Yes," Drez admitted, his voice heavy. "But not by choice. The Mind Shade in my brain gave the order. When I returned from your research station, I began to fight its control. Something about your commander's courage. It helped me resist. For that, they put me here." Delgado's team scanned Drez. "Sir, there are remnants of a dead parasite attached to his neural tissue. He broke free," Vrask explained. "It happens rarely, but when it does, the Mind Shade often dies." On the Vengeance, Dr. Johnson was processing this information rapidly. "Captain Summers, I think I understand. The Mind Shade needs hosts who don't resist. Strong-willed individuals can potentially break their control. And Commander Hartman's actions somehow helped Dres resist, Summers concluded. We need to capture a live mindshade, Johnson insisted. If I can study it, I might be able to develop a way to free the Valteri without killing them. Back in the detention area, General Delgado made a decision. We're taking both of you with us. He turned to his team, and we need to capture one of the fully infected leaders alive. Vrask pointed to a chamber at the end of the hallway. The Mindshade keep their young there. They prepare them before placing them on new hosts. The team moved to the chamber. Inside were small tanks filled with a cloudy liquid. Floating in each tank was a creature about the size of a human thumb, flat, gray, with tiny tendrils around its edges. Mindshade larvae, Vrask explained. Not yet mature enough to control a host, but developing. Dr. Johnson's voice came through, Delgado's calm. General, we need several specimens, both mature and immature. The team carefully collected samples and secured them. As they prepared to leave, alarms sounded throughout the building. They know we're here, Vrask warned. We must hurry. The escape was chaotic. Controlled Valteri soldiers converged on them from all sides. Delgado's team used stun weapons to clear a path to their extraction point. Vrask and Dres helped, guiding them through shortcuts in the complex. As they reached the courtyard, a Valteri, Commander blocked their path. His eyes were almost completely black. Traitors, he hissed at Vrask and Dres. The Mindshade have given our species strength. They would make us rulers of the galaxy. They would make us slaves, Vrask countered. The humans have shown more honor in warfare than the Mindshade have shown as allies. The commander raised his weapon, but Delgado was faster. A stun blast knocked the Valteri unconscious. Take him too, Delgado ordered. Dr. Johnson needs a fully infected subject. 20 minutes later, Delgado's team was back on their transport, heading for the Vengeance with the Valteri prisoners and Mindshade specimens. Once aboard, Dr. Johnson immediately began studying the parasites. After 48 hours of intense work, she emerged from her lab with news. I've developed a targeted electromagnetic pulse that can disable the Mindshade without harming the host. It's similar to our sunburst technology, but modified to target specific neural frequencies. Captain Summers called a meeting with his officers, General Delgado, and their Valteri allies. The way I see it, Summers said, the real enemy here is the Mindshade, not the Valteri people. They used your species to attack ours. Yes, Vrask agreed. But that does not erase what happened to your Commander Hartman. Captain Dres's hands took her life, even if his mind was not his own. All eyes turned to Dres, who had not spoken much since his rescue. I cannot undo what I did, Dres said finally. In our culture, when one warrior kills another unjustly, he owes a life debt to their people. I offer mine to Earth. Ambassador Daniel Rodriguez, who had arrived from Earth to handle diplomatic matters, spoke up. Perhaps there's a better way to honor Commander Hartman's memory. Not with more death, but with alliance. The Valteri and humans working together to free your people and stop the Mindshade threat. 3 days later, Earthships positioned themselves around the Valteri homeworld. Using Dr. Johnson's modified sunburst technology, they broadcast the specialized electromagnetic pulse across the planet. Millions of Valteri experienced momentary pain as the Mindshade parasites detached and died. In the aftermath, the truth became clear. The Mindshade had been spreading through the sector for decades, quietly controlling species and turning them against each other. Harmony 7's research had accidentally discovered a way to detect and disable them. 1 month after, Operation Hartman's Thunder began. A formal peace treaty was signed between Earth and the Free Valteri Dominion. Both planets pledged to work together against the Mindshade wherever they might be found. On Earth, a memorial was dedicated to Commander Lisa Hartman. The plaque read, "One human life, unjustly taken, millions of lives of many species saved, in return. Peace through strength, wisdom through sacrifice." Captain Dres stood before the memorial, now serving as the Valteri ambassador to Earth. "Your commander faced death with courage," he said to Michelle Hill, Lisa's best friend who had come to meet him. "Her courage freed my mind, which helped free my people." Michelle nodded. She believed that understanding was more powerful than fear. I think she would be proud of what came from her sacrifice. As they stood there, news arrived from the front lines. The joint Earth-Valteri fleet had discovered another world under Mindshade control. Together they would move to free it. What began with one human's death had become something no one could have predicted. An alliance that would reshape the galaxy and free countless beings from invisible chains. The war that Earth declared was not the end, but a beginning.